My name is Sonya Collins, and this is for Adult Health 1. It is structures of the eye. The eyes are a delicate organ, and in order to see, they go through a complex process. Vision uses more of the brain than taste, hearing, smell, and touch combined. When a person looks at something, light goes through the cornea, which is a dome-shaped structure. The cornea then curves the light to assist the eyes in focusing on the object. The next part is the iris, which allows a portion of this light to enter the pupil. The next step is that the light goes through the lens. Then the lens, along with the cornea, projects the light onto the retina, which is located at the back of the eye. Afterwards, the retina transforms the light signal into electrical impulses. Once the light signal is changed into electrical impulses, then the optic nerve transports these impulses to the brain, which in turn develops the signals and creates the image. The eyelids are the outermost protective part of the eyes. They work as shutters and first defense barriers against any external force from the environment. The eyes are broken down into different sections, which the first one is refracting tissues, which is the cornea, which is a circular frontage of the spherical eyeball. It is the initial optical component of the eye machinery, taking care of incoming light firsthand. It works as a primary filter before it lets the light pass onto the lens and the retina. The iris, which is known as the central portion in the front of the eyeball, it is a pigmented structure in which a person's eye color is characterized by this pigmentation. The pupil sits in the center of the iris. Due to its circular shape, it lets the light pass through to the lens. Its function is to control the amount of light that it lets in. For example, if settings are very bright, then the pupil will constrict, and vice versa. If the environment is dark, then the pupils will enlarge. The lens is located directly behind the pupil, and it is transparent in color, and it is encapsulated in a thin, transparent body. It is attached to the eyeball by a couple of muscles. Its function is to correctly focus the visuals. It has the ability to be flexible in nature, and it changes according to any outside lighting. Typically, it refracts the light and assists in focusing it properly towards the back of the eyeball. The ciliary muscle, this muscular ring is connected to the lens, and it contracts or relaxes. It alters the shape of the lens, which is called accommodation. Vitreous and aqueous fluid, these two fluids circulate throughout the eye to provide nutrients and structure. The vitreous fluid is thick and gel-like and is present in the back of the eye. It makes up most of the eye's mass. The aqueous fluid is more watery, and it circulates through the front of the eye. The next part is light-sensitive tissues. The retina, this is the innermost layer of the structure of the eyeball. It can be pictured as the wall in which all figures are projected. All the light that passes through the previous structures will get focused on the retinal membrane. It contains two photoreceptors, which are rods and cones. So when they sense light, they send signals that are electrical to the brain. The optic nerve, which is a thick bundle of nerve fibers that conveys waves from the retina to the brain. Ganglion cells are thin retinal fibers that transports light information from the retina to the brain. The ganglion cells exit the eye at the optic nerve. The optic nerve is known as the blind spot because there are no rods or cones located there. The next part is the brain, which gives depth perception by organizing the signals from both eyes. The signals produced by the retina wind up in the visual cortex. This part of the brain processes visual information. The visual cortex draws together impulses from both eyes to create images. There are support tissues, which is the sclera, which is known as the white of the eyes. It is a fibrous in nature and holds the eyeball, assisting it in keeping its shape. It is connected to muscles that can move the eye in virtually any direction. The conjunctiva, this is a thin, transparent membrane that protects the sclera and lines the eyelids, but it does not cover the cornea. The eyes have tear glands, which are each about the size of an almond. that delivers fluid that aids in lubricating the eye and safeguard it from microbes. The uvea, which is the middle layer of the eyeball, it provides blood to the eye. The iris, ciliary body, and the choroid are a part of the uvea. The ciliary body has capillaries that exude aqueous humor. The ciliary muscles are linked to zonular fibers. Combined, they assist in adjusting the shape of the lens for seeing short or long distances. There are many diseases that affect the eye, and the first one I chose was diabetic retinopathy. It's a complication of diabetes where retinal blood vessels break down, leak, or become blocked, impairing vision over time. Diabetic retinopathy is the leading cause of blindness in working adults ages 20 to 74 in the United States. But blindness caused by diabetes is preventable. Damaged blood vessels can leak blood and or fluid into the retina. This fluid will harm the retina and can increase the risk of permanent vision loss if untreated. The next one I chose was glaucoma, which is a group of diseases that involves the deterioration of the optic nerve tissue inside the eye. The optic nerve is the cable that connects to the eye to the brain, which is responsible for allowing us to see by carrying a signal between the two. Glaucoma does not typically cause any symptoms in the early stages, therefore most people are unaware that they have the disease. It isn't until late in the progression when vision is affected, and a patient gradually loses their side vision. The next one I chose was macular degeneration, which is an eye condition of the retina that affects a person's central vision or straight ahead vision. There are various stages, early, intermediate, advanced, as well as two forms of macular degeneration, which is dry and wet. A comprehensive dilated eye examination by an eye care provider once every year is suggested to aid with prevention, early detection, and treatment of macular degeneration. There are a few identifiable factors that raise a person's likelihood of developing macular degeneration over the age of 50. Caucasian race, female, smoking, family history of macular degeneration, and ultraviolet exposures. Eye exams that I chose, they all pretty much use the same exams to see if they can be diagnosed. So usually a fluoroscan, angiography is used, tomography. It's also the dilated eye exam. There's a slit lamp exam, visual acuity. There's also something called a pachymetry, a perimetry, and a gonioscopy. Sorry, I can't pronounce that very well. Most of these include blurry vision, red eyes. Cataracts do put a film over the eye, and usually most of the people need to have surgery to remove that. But the primary nursing function and treatment is to make sure that we're teaching these patients about their eye care. We're teaching them how to instill eye drops in their eyes on their own. We also need to tell them to make sure that they follow up with their physicians and that they follow post-op care if they're to have any kind of surgery or anything like that. And to make sure that they wash their hands before they put any eye drops in their eyes, and try not to touch the eyes with the tip of the eye drops. And unfortunately I went a little bit over, but that is my video of structures of the eye. Thank you.